On a bad day, Back for Blood is going to look like this. Oh, there's a lot of them.
Oh no!
Oh crap.
Wait a second, how many special zombies are there here?
And then there's the Titan, or the Ogre. Run.
Not to die.
I'm down as well.
Holy fuck, what the
I
hell?
told you how I got hurt all of a sudden.
Okay, Evangelo, it's all up to you, buddy.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll save us.
Wait, that felt like an escalation.
That escalated very quickly, yeah. On a good day, Back for Blood looks like this.
There we go. Holy moly.
Oh, they're trying to destroy the jukebox. You bastards.
Oh, that's why the music stopped.
Everyone's a critic.
Yeah, no accounting for taste.
Yeah.
It's this. It's like blood things on the ground. Holy moly! This party's getting crazy!
Jesus. And it's right in the middle of that duality that most of the game actually tends to happen. Back for Blood is a spiritual sequel, a kind of revamp, a kind of reboot for the classic Left 4 Dead. And you can kind of see already, Left 4 Dead, Back for Blood, ha ha ha, very clever. But where Left 4 Dead was a very streamlined, a very clean experience that didn't really do anything kind of wild or wacky with this thing, it was very, very one note. You started a level with 4 characters, and you fought your way through hordes of zombies and special enemies, and those who survived got to continue to the next map. Back for Blood amps up the routines a little bit differently by adding power cards and kind of a mini game into it where you have to use points that you've gathered throughout the mission to unlock new routes that then bring you different new bonuses that you pick between levels. And it's kind of okay. It's not great. It's a nice addition, but most of it feels superfluous. Because in the end, the one thing that matters with these kind of games, and especially with a co-op shooter like this, is how fun is it to play on its own, as is, without any sort of additions to it. And Back for Blood is right there, firmly in the, it's okay. It's perfectly serviceable. And that's about it. If you're playing with friends, it is very much a fun run and gunner that gets bogged down with the fact that you kind of have to start from the very lowest difficulty and work your way up by collecting these power-ups, buying these cards, and then, hoping that the RNG, the random number generator, works in your favor, and then amping up the difficulty after every long, kind of arduous run so that you can then continue and having more things to play. It's not a game where you just play it once, or, you might be like us and you play it through once and never touch it again. It's meant to be kind of like Diablo, where you play it through multiple times and each time is a little bit different. But unlike Diablo, I kind of found the experience that it wasn't as endorphin-inducing fun as that game is. It's not fast-paced enough, and there is kind of a grind to it. My biggest issue with it tends to be that, like, if you're playing on a slightly higher difficulty, if you die during what is one of these runs that can easily last, at least for us, it lasted anywhere from half an hour to an hour to complete multiple sets of levels. If you do end up dying permanently between these levels, then you lose that progress. You go back to the beginning of multiple levels. And really, that kind of grinding, that kind of punishment was not fun. It was punishing to the point of not being challenging and just being kind of obnoxious. I know now that I do know that this is not something that everybody's going to share. I know a lot of friends of mine who are really enamored by the fact that it is a challenging and hard game. But the problem for me is that if I'm not always going to have friends around to play this with. I had for this, we were very lucky that Microsoft provided us with some codes, and we got to play all 4 of us, and we played through the main campaign, and then we took a little bit of a break, and we played some more, just to kind of get an idea of how it feels like before and after release, because these things are updated constantly. And while I do feel that the balance got better over time, and as I played it alone even further on, it has been improving, I haven't felt afterwards at all, even once, a feeling that I need to go back to this. There hasn't been the kind of like, let's get the gang together, let's go and play once more, like with other games of this type. And it's not because that it's just the difficulty, it's also that there isn't the kind of atmosphere, there isn't the kind of the characters, there isn't the Valve aspect to it. And that's a little unfair to compare, because Valve, of course, has a knack for creating really iconic, wonderful characters, and there's like a beauty to their simplicity. Here the characters are much more thought out in a way. They have more personality to some extent, but it's not the kind of personality that I really enjoyed throughout. Like they keep yammering on a lot, they keep talking to one another, but it's weirdly balanced in the sense that the dialogue keeps overlapping, and it's not always entertaining. It gets kind of repetitive and boring. And as for the action, most of this is very directly lifted from Left 4 Dead. The enemies are a little different, but you can tell if you've played Left 4 Dead, you can really easily pinpoint what everything is. And it got to the point that when we were playing it, actually, we kept referring them to their names from Left 4 Dead. Apart from that, it is a very decent game. I would not suggest to play it on your own or with strangers. I have been playing it now a little bit on just alone with PC co-op partners, like NPCs, and it's not fun. Even if you kind of get going and you get to have these big set pieces, like, and there are a few really, really great set pieces where I think they've captured this kind of apocalyptic zombie menace really well. Playing with strangers, I found that there was a lot of drop in, drop out, because people would just leave if they got down. They wouldn't wait until you went to pick them up, or you couldn't rely on them to pick you up, and there was a lot of griefing that nobody would play as a team, that, you get automatically with friends. Your mileage may vary, of course, but it's something I would not really recommend if you're just alone, and I wouldn't pay full price for it, at least. I would wait until it's on a really good sale, or on Games Pass, where it's actually currently, and that's a good place to give it a try if you already have that subscription. So yeah, it's fine. It is a decent game, but I wouldn't recommend it wholeheartedly. I think there are better co-op games. There is at least the Warhammer-themed Vermintide, which is really great. Both of them, Vermintide 1 and 2. You can even go back to play Left 4 Dead, which is still a completely playable and completely great game. And if you want something more co-op based, something that's more teamwork, there's the Dwarven mining game Deep Rock Galactic, which is just one of the best 4-player co-op games out there right now. If you really do want something that's a shooter, and if you really want something that's a shooter with zombies specifically, and it's between, this or World War Z, which I couldn't recommend to anybody, of course, go with this. This is still, it still has that spirit of Left 4 Dead that is really good. But, you take it with a grain of salt. It's not the best thing around. It's not really the one we were hoping for. I wish it were. I wish it would get better. I think down the line, if it gets updated and we get some expansion packs, it could be. Right now, it's just a noble effort.